Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Bill Gates' dad, former head of Planned Parenthood, Bill Gates, Bill Moyers talking about population reduction. These people mean devastating business. And all these fool yuppies, I talk to them, and they say, well, anybody making over $200,000, $300,000 a year, especially in any elite city like Austin, New York, L.A., my dad's a dentist, and he's been invited to some elite meetings with some pretty big people, dinners. And they won't go to them because they're giving them the books they wrote about world population reduction and talking about how they want to kill everyone. My dad, who was in high school, one of the top of his class, they sent him to a UT advanced project when he was a junior and senior. They called him in to these meetings. Out of the 125 they selected, he was in the top 6 smartest. And Professor Spear called him in and said, you need to be involved in government. We need to be involved in eugenics. Spear said, I'm Jewish. Hitler had it wrong, wanting to only get rid of certain groups. It's actually all the bad people. I mean, this isn't me reading government documents. My dad can't go to top cocktail parties with rich people without having to hear about it. It's all you hear. And you talk to these stupid yuppies, and they go, oh, there are too many people. We do need to get rid of people. It's kind of like Thrills, their little power trip view of the world. It makes them feel important, pressing on the nerve of power. Don't you idiots know you're being targeted as well? Eugenics isn't what you're taught in school of positive and negative, advancing the healthier, smarter specimens, culling the dumb ones, which is bad enough. It actually, the next tier of eugenics, when you deeply read, is targeting the intelligence groups. It's targeting the wild sons, the bad sons, as they call them, the people that, the middle-class wild seed, they call it, that has the genetic complement to challenge the elite. I mean, these people are sick. They're putting cancer viruses. They've been caught, the UN's been caught adding hormones to tetanus shots to sterilize women. I mean, the SV 40 human, papillomaviruses, all of this they've been caught. The Salk vaccine, knowingly it was in there. We have videos of Salk and others bragging and laughing about it. I mean, this is so evil. And you've got all these fools that think they're part of the power structure and who think this is all cute and funny, and they've been let in on the inside track, and they've been let in on the big secret, and it's so much fun. So, at this United Nations Climate Change Conference, we've gone over the 200-page treaty here. Global governance, world government. Cue up Von Rompuy again for everybody. They say that this will be a planetary government, first targeting the Western nations that already have 1.2 child replacement. The Western nations, on average, have 1.3 children. For every 2 people, 1.3. Japan's dying. Italy's dying. Germany's dying. The United States is dying. All the original Western populations are dying. They're dying. All the major populations are dying. And that's exactly what the globalists want. That's the first group they want wiped out. But they're also running soft kill operations on Africans, Latin Americans, Pacific Islanders, everybody. And they've been caught. I mean, just document after document after document after document that we cover in my film Endgame, where they just admit they're doing this to everyone. And then now, here's the New York Times. EPA sets carbon crackdown. They're going to tax carbon dioxide, everything, listing it as a toxic waste. ABC News. ABC News right here. EPA greenhouse gases endanger human health. And they list all these other gases like methane, that cows have flatulence. New Zealand in places have already passed laws. Canada's passing laws to tax any type of animal that releases methane. Sheep, cows, chickens, goats, everything, geese. Schwarzenegger couldn't get the legislature to pass it, so he just said, I'm banning TVs above 40 inches and putting taxes on all others. Total feudalism, total serfdom is now unfolding. And all of this being done in line. Obama administration will formally declare danger of carbon emissions, including carbon dioxide, to be listed as a toxic waste. And it only takes a majority to create the treaty, and Obama's going to sign on. You watch. But then even if they don't ratify it in the Senate, the states, through federal bureaucracy, which is under UNESCO that Bush signed us back onto, United Nations Educational Cultural Organization, they are integrating this everywhere at the state level. Last week, the internal UN documents came out. CNN, AP, they all covered it like it was a good thing and said, oh, yes, the UN has a global program in all the public schools with grade children, teaching them to educate their parents, to rebuke their parents. New York Times described kids telling their parents, writing them fake tickets about taking hot baths. Next, they can have them spy on them for terrorism. They're already doing that. They're recruiting the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts for Homeland Security. I mean, this is just Orwell on steroids. I just can't believe it. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. And the good news is, though, these emails got hacked. They got released to the media 6 weeks ago. The media wouldn't cover it. So they got then released to universities. And it's them and they're admitting, oh, my gosh, the Earth's getting cooler. We've got to hide this. We've got to hide the decline. We've got to persecute scientists. We've got to get them fired. We've got to keep them from getting their papers published. We've got to keep this out of the IPCC report. We've got to get with the government to block these FOIA requests. The government is helping us block people from getting this. Oh, we've got to work with Goddard Space Center. We've got to work with the UN to hide it. The three head climate facilities in England, the United States, and Germany, all working together, the three that they draw from. And then you see the UN say, yes, this has been very damaging to our program, these emails coming out. But thank God that we still have the peer-reviewed journals that prove global warming's real. When the very peer-reviewed journals are using the data from the UN Climate Index that they integrated, that they created. But the good news is, I've got an article here with the head of the UN saying this has been devastating to them. And so the good news is this pseudoscience, this fraud is being exposed. And we spend an hour in my new 2+ hour film, Fall of the Republic, exposing this. It's free on YouTube, free on Google. Just Google it. Email it to everybody you know. Get the DVD at Infowars.com. Make copies. Expose these scum.